Okay, let's talk about anime. It has absolutely exploded. I mean, it's gone from this kind of niche hobby to a massive global cultural force. But when millions of us are getting totally lost in these amazing, vibrant worlds, a pretty serious question starts to pop up. When does a passion cross the line and become a real problem? Let's dive in.
So just how big are we talking? Well, get this. In the US alone, a staggering 27% of young Americans, we're talking 18 to 29-year-olds, are very favorable towards anime. This isn't some tiny subculture anymore. For a whole generation, this is a mainstream pillar of entertainment.
And if you look at its home country, Japan, the numbers are just wow. I mean, about a third of the general population watches regularly, which is a lot. But for young people, it's an overwhelming 90%. 90! When something is that deeply woven into a culture, you have to ask,
Is this just a harmless hobby, or could it be a genuine addiction? Look, we all love getting lost in a good story, but can that love morph into something that has a real negative pull on our lives? The answer, it turns out, is way more complex than you might think.
To really get this, we need to talk about something called behavioral addiction. See, science now recognizes that it's not just physical substances that can get you hooked. No. Any experience that lights up our brain's reward center, from gambling to social media to, yes, even getting lost in a really powerful story, can create the exact same kind of compulsive patterns.
So researchers looking at things like internet addiction have proposed a few signs for what anime addiction might look like. And it's not just about how many hours you clock in. It's when that viewing becomes excessive, like it's taking up a huge chunk of your day. It's when it leads to you pulling away from your friends and family. And crucially, it's when you keep watching even when you know it's causing real harm to your health or your life.
But what is it about anime that's so compelling it could even lead to these behaviors? Well, the research points to a secret ingredient. And it's not just the cool animation or the action scenes. It's a really powerful psychological process called transportation.
I mean, think about it. That last time a show just completely grabbed you. What was it that made you forget you were sitting on your couch and made you feel like you were right there in the story? That feeling, it actually has a name. And it's the key to this whole thing.
And that name is transportation. It's that kind of magical state where your own world, your own reality, just fades into the background. Your thoughts, your emotions, they get completely invested in the world of the story. Suddenly, the characters' struggles, they feel like your struggles. Their wins feel like your wins.
And this right here is the absolute core of it. Transportation happens, and I'm quoting here, when we see our experience in the character and our hope, desires, and dreams in the plot. A story becomes truly powerful, truly transporting when it hooks into your own life, your own hopes, your own challenges.
Okay, and this is where it gets really fascinating. This connection leads to the most important insight from this research. The proposed model for anime addiction is fundamentally different from substance addiction. And it all boils down to the really surprising role your own environment plays. Let's break this down. For a substance addiction, right, your environment, things like stress or seeing ads, it mostly affects how much you use or your access to it. But the chemical reward you get from a specific dose, that's pretty much constant. With anime, it's a totally different ballgame. Here, your environment, your personal life experiences, directly changes the actual biochemical reward you get from watching. The more a story resonates with what you're going through, the more transported you get, and the bigger that dopamine hit feels. It's not a fixed reward, it's variable.
So how does this actually turn into a problem? Well, researchers use a pretty technical term, reciprocal determinism, which really is just a fancy way of saying a feedback loop. And this loop shows exactly how a viewer can get trapped.
Here's how that spiral can get going. It might start simply, with a recommendation or an ad. But let's say someone is feeling really stressed or maybe isolated in their real life. Suddenly, these anime stories about overcoming huge odds or finding a true found family become incredibly rewarding. That amazing feeling drives more watching, which leads to identifying more with the anime subculture. Now, if that in turn gets negative reactions from the outside world, that person feels even more alienated from reality, which makes the world of anime an even better, safer refuge. And you see, the cycle just feeds itself.
So this is it. This is the crucial idea that changes everything.
With narrative media like anime, what's happening in your real life doesn't just affect your viewing habits. It fundamentally changes the neurochemistry of the experience itself. To put it simply, your life experiences don't just influence how much you watch, but literally how good it feels to watch.
So, what's the big takeaway here? What does all this mean for you? Well, ultimately, this isn't just about anime. This research gives us a powerful new way to look at our relationship with all kinds of storytelling. Movies, TV shows, video games, you name it.
And that really leaves us with one final and I think crucial question to ask ourselves. If the stories that we connect with the most are a mirror of our own lives, reflecting our stresses, our hopes, our dreams, then what do the stories that you love say about you? And maybe more importantly, how are those stories shaping who you become?